Alright, for this part of the video, I'm going to discuss how to modify the armor to fit the base body, and discuss how to export it. So, first thing we're going to do here is that we have body armor in the scene right now. We want to go ahead and put a smooth modifier on that as well. And if this particular armor came with different pieces, which you'd be able to select easily using the select by name option, if there were other pieces, they'd be listed there. You want to put smooth modifiers on every single one of them. Like I said, it never hurts to use a smooth modifier. I've never had armor mess up because I use smooth modifier. I've only had good things. So, make a smoothing group 2. Now that we have that, we're going to reshape the armor. Now, there's two ways you can do this. I click on this, and personally I don't like to use the edit mesh here at the bottom. And the reason I don't like to do that is because this option, it follows priority based on how high it is on the list. And so if you add things later on, they'll be above it, and I don't want things to have a higher priority than the things I'm editing. So I'm going to click on the modifier list here, and I'm going to scroll down, and I'll either use edit mesh or edit poly here. Now, they're essentially the same thing. They're both going to allow you to reshape the armor. Personally, I like to use edit poly. It gives you, it lets you see a bit more as far as what you're moving around, but there is an issue with it. You might not always be able to use it, and I'm going to discuss that now. So I'm going to click on edit poly here. Now, I'm going to click on selection by vertex. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click and drag a box over the entire figure. And notice when I do that, it says I have 1,554 vertices selected. Now that number is very important, because now I'm going to unselect vertex and go back to editable mesh and do the same thing. Click on vertex, and you see when you use edit mesh, all the vertices light up for you. But I'm going to click and drag over that as well. And now I have 1,552. When I had edit poly, it was 2 more than that. That is very important. What that means is that when you use edit poly, for some reason it's picking up more vertices. And when that happens, if you try to export this armor, it's going to get messed up when you try to use it in the game. When you do this process, the vertex count is extremely important. If you do anything to alter the vertex count from the original amount, then your armor will be broken. Now, there might be ways to work around that, but I do not know how to get around those. So, if you use edit poly, which is my preference, and you have a different vertex count than the editable mesh, you can't use it. So in this case, we're not going to use edit poly. I'm just going to delete that, and now I'm just going to create a modifier for edit mesh right there. And I know I already have an editable mesh right there, but I just don't like to use the very bottom one. I like to create one that I can move around a bit more freely. So I'm going to click on that, click on vertex, and now open up this little soft selection area right here, and I'm going to use soft selection. What soft selection is, it basically allows you to move an area of vertices rather than just one at a time. And so your fall off amount, it says 20, that's basically going to choose the radius of the area you affect. So 20 is a bit wide for this particular piece. I'm going to move it down to about maybe 13. Let's see how that does. That's a bit better. So now what we're going to do now is just kind of pull the vertices around, and just try to cover up all those pieces of flesh that are coming out of the armor. There we go. And this is pretty much the only part in the process that isn't just, you know, plugging in commands. This actually, you know, takes a bit of skill, and you want to make sure that things are balanced. You know, you want to make sure it looks nice and neat. You don't want it to be right up against the model, because, you know, when the model moves around, it might, you know, pieces of the skin might be coming out when you walk and whatnot. So you want to give the model a little bit of breathing room. Let's see. Neck looks okay. Shoulders look good. Alright, it's mostly just the torso area that needed some help. Everything else looks pretty good. So now that we have that, let's see. That's all we're going to need for that. So now, every time you're done modifying it, I would unselect, make a good habit of that, just unselecting the vertex option right there. I'll explain later while it's a good habit to get into. But for now, just get used to it. So now we have the armor set up. It looks like it's kind of poking out there in the chest. I'll fix that, just push it in a little bit. Maybe break the fall off down a little bit. Let's put it down to 8. There we go. I'm not going to make this perfect because I'm just kind of doing this as a trial run to show you guys what to do, but you get the idea. Alright, so now we have that. We have everything in our scene. So this is going to be exported now. I'm going to click on the down arrow, just click on export, and sometimes using a different option. It's not letting me click on it. It's not giving me that option. Alright, so we're just going to export for now. And I'm going to export to a folder. Let's see. 3Ds. I'm just going to save it right here. And I'm going to save it as, how about Storm Cloak Officer _0.nif. Save it like that. There we go. And now you're going to come up with this panel right here. Make sure all these things are checked. And one thing you're going to have to change every single time is this weld vertices option right here. Just backspace that until it says 0.0. We don't want anything there. And again, some other tutorials say that doesn't matter. It's the same situation as a smooth modifier for me. Every time I've left it alone and not changed it, I've had things happen, bad things. So just make it 0. And make sure everything else is set up like that too. And then hit export. Alright, and so we're done with that piece for now. We have the half of the armor done. And let's see. Alright. I'll go ahead and stop that video right there. And for the next video, we're going to create the full weight armor